On October 25th, 2023, 74-year-old Nature Boy Ric Flair finally made his AEW debut. It was a surprise appearance aimed at celebrating and honoring the storied history between Flair and Sting, two legends whose careers have intersected numerous times, dating all the way back in the late 80s in WCW. At 64 years old, Sting has decided to call it a career. At Revolution 2024's upcoming pay-per-view event for AEW, he will have his final wrestling match, which means we'll barely get any of Sting in All Elite after the event. As Sting's AEW career is probably coming to an end, Ric Flair's time in the company is only getting started. The Nature Boy is officially All Elite, and Flair is not the only one in the company who is on the older, more verified side of the business. Recently, Adam Copeland, known to most fans as Edge, made his AEW debut, and to be fair, he's not necessarily old compared to the others, but, being old's not a bad thing. It means people know you, and you've earned their respect. The Rated R Superstar is 50 years old, which is not young either, but man, come on, that guy looks good for 50, right? Even some new stars like Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer are in their mid-40s and have put a lot of years on their body before getting to AEW. So let's get to the bottom of this. Is AEW signing too many wrestlers of a certain age? Is being old a bad thing in wrestling? All Elite Wrestling burst onto the professional wrestling scene in 2019 as a breath of fresh air, positioning itself as a truly viable alternative to WWE. Although the 49-year-old Chris Jericho was crowned the first ever AEW World Champion, and then 50-year-old Dustin Rhodes played an important role in AEW's initial days, the significant aspect of the company's early special appeal was a commitment to nurturing and promoting new breakout talents that people were surging behind, focusing and developing fresh faces and innovative storylines rather than relying solely on established wrestling stars. They knew they were going to make stars or ride the wave of everything that the Elite group was doing. This strategy resonated with fans seeking that alternative to a more established WWE product at the time. Initially, AEW's approach was successful in introducing new talents like Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, MJF, Orange Cassidy, Britt Baker, Ricky Starks, and many others. And these young talents went on to become AEW's top names. Just look at MJF, who is the AEW World Champion and has been carrying the company on his back for the better part of the last year. But along with fresh stars, AEW also started signing veteran wrestlers who had already made a name for themselves in other promotions, particularly former WWE names who wanted a fresh opportunity. Icons like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Billy Gunn, Taz, Jake the Snake Roberts were among the initial legends to join the company in supporting roles. Their roles varied from commentary to backstage producers, mentors, and ringside managers. Arn mentored Cody Rhodes. Tully took FTR and Sean Spears under his tutelage. Jake managed Lance Archer, and Taz started his own team with Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Some of these legends also introduced their offspring to the company, like Austin and Colton Gunn, the sons of Billy Gunn, Hook, who is Taz's son, and Brock Anderson, who had some limited exposure as Arn Anderson's son. AEW has solidly established a company that truly wants to take on the next generation from the previous one. And the reason that AEW brought in these established names is pretty simple. They bring a certain level of credibility to the brand. Their followings become new fans for AEW. This allows AEW to leverage those fan bases and create new fans for themselves and their weekly television and touring live events. Not only this, but the presence of veteran wrestlers was beneficial in mentoring and elevating younger talents. And it really helped young talent, as almost all these fresh faces were aligned with one legend or another. Ricky Starks showed his charisma on the mic with Taz on his side. Sammy Guevara pairing with Chris Jericho helped him become an effective heel. We could go on and on. AEW was strategic in how they used veteran talent. They weren't simply there for a high and a wave to the audience. Rather than relying solely on the main event scene, they began integrating these names into storylines to elevate younger stars and create intriguing matchups that cater both to hardcore fans and the casual viewers who are maybe sampling this new AEW thing. The inclusion of veterans has also allowed AEW to diversify its product. The first year of AEW concluded, and that's when the icon Sting showed up at the Winter is Coming event. Yes, it was a big deal, one of the biggest signings of the company at the time. His alliance with Darby Allin emerged as a standout pairing between the legend and a new name. You see this? They've already kind of proven they can do this formula, and this is maybe the best of those combinations. Taking Darby Allin under his wing, Sting established a partnership that has resonated unlike any other in AEW, showcasing a remarkable amount of synergy with saying so little between a veteran icon and a rising young talent. These two hit it out of the park from the get-go. Sting eventually stepped back into the ring with Darby as his partner. Now, Sting obviously left WWE on some unfortunate circumstances with a very serious injury, so the matches we would see him perform in would be sparingly. But that doesn't mean that Sting wouldn't go all out, and doing it with Darby Allin was a way to go all out. He threw punches and even took some bumps. It was a really surreal moment. We didn't think we were going to see him do this again. This opened the door for other legends to come to All Elite Wrestling. Paul White, formerly known as The Big Show in WWE, decided to become All Elite, and the company also started giving more TV time to these verified names. In significant storylines, Billy Gunn found himself at the heart of a compelling narrative between his sons Austin and Colton, with the Acclaimed in AEW, where he broke away from his family, aligning himself with the Acclaimed. Yes, scissor me, daddy ass. As a result, he's now 1/3 of the AEW Trios champions alongside his newfound allies. Jeff Jarrett also came to the company and quickly became a regular presence. Yes, north of 45, Jeff Jarrett is a true weekly player for AEW. His tenure saw him step into the ring and challenge Orange Cassidy for the International Championship and engage in a consistent wrestling match back and forth on a regular schedule. Not to mention William Regal's role with the formation of the Blackpool Combat Club and his unexpected betrayal of the BCC to align himself with MJF before going back to WWE. Although he no longer works with AEW, Regal regularly was featured in the company for a brief period of time. Mark Henry also joined AEW as a coach. The company even brought in the likes of Vicky Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero in roles as well. AEW has shown a great deal of respect towards these legends, a contrast that some say may have not been the same type of presentation on weekly television with WWE. AEW leverages these names to explore innovative new combinations and storylines. Whether it's creating unexpected alliances or engaging in personal issue feuds with a different generation, the company understands these names are about elevating their new talent. Bringing us back to Ric Flair coming into the company, how will he do that, as he's now really just aligned with Sting to kind of do this farewell tour, which in itself is very special. He had his last match July 31st, 2022, where he teamed up with his son-in-law Andrade to face Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, which is said to be his final match, but who's going to say no to him if he wants to wrestle again? Yeah, after having a pacemaker in his chest. It's just a weird scenario. We can get into that in another video. AEW previously allowed Sting to wrestle post-retirement. Yeah, he's been able to work around these different things. Are we going to see Flair do the same? Is Flair going to step into the ring once again, or is he going to play more of a supporting role considering his health? It's in his best interest maybe not to compete, but who's to tell Ric Flair, of all people, what he can and can't do? Although we don't expect Ric Flair to step through the ropes and get into the ring for AEW, he can still play a very serious role. Maybe as a manager to his son-in-law, Andrade, or maybe just a name they can use to endorse products and become more of a branding, marketing, product-oriented company that you gotta be in today's media world. As AEW is trying to secure a new TV contract with their media partners, Warner Brothers Discovery, having a name like Flair means they understand how to bring in people that are casual viewers and have maybe watched WWE their entire lives. Having those big names helps you do that. Earlier this year, there was also rumors circulating that Goldberg potentially could be joining AEW once his time and contractual obligations with WWE were concluded. While it would have been a significant move, such a transition remains uncertain. What do you think? Who's the next big name that could come to AEW? What about Hulk Hogan, brother? Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there that just left WWE as well. Who's next to join AEW? And do they need those verified names or those up-and-coming breakout superstars? Let us know in the comments below.